Good morning, YouTube. I'm coming to you this morning with some very important information. But first and foremost, I want you to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. For those of you who are new to this channel, please do so. But again, the information I have today is in reference to a matter that took place yesterday for me, but I'm sure it's a matter that is taking place for so many men in this country, and I'm speaking in particularly about the minority men in this country, in reference to, actually maybe not even be minority. I think it's pretty much all men, but sadly enough, in this country, you know, too many of us are having to go to court in reference to child support and things of that nature, custody of our kids. I'm not condoning by any means those men who are not out here taking care of their responsibilities, who are failing our children, our young men and our young women, and not giving a damn about taking care of someone that you have created. You know, these young men and women out here, they need us, and sadly enough, you're not doing your part. And furthermore, you're making it hard on men like myself, to the point where I had to go to court yesterday to fight for my daughters. I have two beautiful little girls, and you've probably seen them in my previous videos. I'm not going to say their names, but what I'm going to say is this, that it was the most heartbreaking feeling for me to basically have to go to court in the first place, because sadly enough, my daughters have been with me since birth. I've been in their lives since birth, 365 days a year since birth, giving my all, working hard, you know, providing for my daughters, providing for my family. Sadly enough, I had to go to court yesterday for custody of my daughters because of a matter between their mother and I that sadly enough, you know, never really had to be. But strangely enough, when I get to court, I was kind of confident in the fact that, you know, with everything I had, you know, provided for my daughters over the years, including, you know, healthcare and all that other good stuff. And I just was confident that everything would work out in reference to just being able to do joint custody with my kids. You know, being able to have them, you know, at least half of the year. But sadly enough, my judicial system has failed me. And crazily enough, for someone like myself who has worked on the other side of the law, who has been in law enforcement myself, it was troubling, because I sat there like, wow, you know, it doesn't pay. It doesn't pay at all to do good or right by your kids, sadly, and it shouldn't be that way. I think every situation should be viewed differently. You know, if it shows that you were taking care of your kids from the beginning, and you basically provided and gave everything to them, and, you know, there should be no reason why our judicial system should not grant you 50-50 custody, especially when you have the means to do so, especially when you have like homes and provide like food, clothing, shelter, you know, everything that's possible for your kids. It's just not right. And furthermore, to grant the women, automatically grant them child support for something that you yourself can do as well. You know, sadly enough, in my case, their mother took them away from me. No, it wasn't as far as, you know, it might seem, but it was far enough that it mattered enough to the judge, to the court system, that she was granted physical custody of my daughters. Basically, she gets them 265 days a year, where I only get them 100. And furthermore, I get smacked over the head with child support unjustly, because again, I've been providing for my girls. I have been doing everything possible for them. Their mother knows it, everybody knows it. But sadly enough, this is just a situation where it's like, my system failed me. it failed me, and I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy at all. I never saw myself being in this position because, one, I was one of those men, just like most of us out here, who didn't have our fathers growing up. But greatly enough, I have a father that he and I have a great relationship, and I love my father, to death. Love my mom the same. But sadly, there's too many men and women out here who haven't had their fathers in their lives, and my kid's mother included. She didn't have her father either. So it was something that I felt like, I'd hope that she would understand, like, look, I didn't have my father, you didn't have our father, but at least let our daughters have their father just as much as they have their mother. But sadly, she didn't see it that way. Sadly, she wanted to let the courts decide, but didn't understand that the reason I took her to court to begin with is because you took my daughters out of my home, didn't want to tell me where they were, didn't want to tell me where they live. Then you took them to another state outside of where I bought a home for them and wanted them to grow up and wanted them to, just become these beautiful women. And you just took them. And so I had no choice but to file for custody of my daughters. I had to take you to court because I could not stand to see you take them away from me, take them far away like you did your oldest daughter to her father. It's just not right by any means necessary. And you know it. I'm sorry, Facebook. This is a very emotional time for me. I love my daughters like no other. I've loved my daughters like I've never loved before. And sadly enough, I have to spend the next 14 plus years of my life not being able to be a huge part of my daughter's growth. Because right now, as it stands, they're going to be getting most of their upbringing from their mother, and they won't even really get to experience or know what their father is trying to teach them or give them. It's just not enough time. 100 days is not enough time. I don't understand how any judge, how any white man, a white judge, can say that 100 days is good enough for a child. Like, you wouldn't do that to the mother. Why do it to the father? Why do it to the father? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I will always fight for my daughters. I will always provide. I will always be there, no matter how long I live, no matter how things turn out for me in life. They're my main priority. They're my main purpose in life. And that's all I care about. It's sad that things had to be the way they are. It's sad that mother decided to do what she did. I have nothing more to say, YouTube.